Good afternoon, one and all. First and foremost, I should thank Security Watch India and all the co-hosts of the seminar, which goes by name Droneacharya. It's quite an interesting name, and I have been part of this seminar at least twice. Once by video conferencing, and the other time I was physically present there. I, for one, believe that drones would have a multiplier effect on literally anything and everything we do. I'm also thankful to Karan Dol for having given me this opportunity by way of video conferencing to talk about one of the major issues in emerging technologies. We talk of different emerging technologies like your 3D printing, you talk of IPv6, talk of 5G. But Internet of Things is not one single technology, is a consolidation, aggregation, collaboration, augmentation and facilitation of large number of technologies. Behind the Internet of Things, what we generally talk about is things being smart and intelligent, connectivity being only one part of it. What does smart and intelligent mean, and whether smart and intelligent also incorporates security inbuilt into it, to what level of security, the internal, external, in whichever manner. First and foremost, the people who manage the IoT or people who are at the center stage of creating an IoT situation or an IoT ecosystem in any enterprise, wow, how smart they are, how intelligent they are, how much they are in unison with all the stuff which is happening all around the place. First question I would like to ask the audience, that do you have an IT blueprint or IoT blueprint for your enterprise? It generally happens that whatever is the flavor of the day, all of us, we get onto that bandwagon even without realizing as to what it is and where it will take us. The other buzzword today would be machine learning and artificial intelligence, from the shortest to the biggest, to the smallest to the most complex, wherever you go. I think these words and these jargons are being bandied about as some sure shot way to success. Have you ever seen a very comprehensive blueprint of any IoT project, either in your company or in any of the companies? I, for one, have been hearing about these things for quite some time, but today I have not got the opportunity to actually get into a neat IoT project, the blueprint being known. And as we progress over the years, the results start coming in. So, what is IoT? So that's the first issue. What is IoT? Until unless we don't know what IoT is, we will also be moving around in round and round circles without realizing as to what it is. It still means different things to different people. At the end of the day, it is basically a dedicated physical objects that contain embedded technologies. And these embedded technologies connect, process, and enable the personnel for capture of data. And based on the capture of data, what is supposed to be done is that the company can learn behavior and usage. And based on that, they react or take preventive action or transform business processes. So this is what it is precisely meant to do. And we'll start with one use case of Trenitalia. So that's the biggest railway service in Italy. And they run around 1500 train sets on 700 routes every day, and they're working on a system which is known as corrective reactive activities and maintenance plans, as is the case in any other country, inclusive of India. From there, they wanted to shift to a system that reflects the real conditions of each train. Each train's all the components. And that was the paradigm shift in the method of both operations, maintenance, and using the capital assets in a manner which would be most conducive. Having done that, they were capable to know the route-specific factors, hills, curves, local routes with many stops, along with kilometers, and even to the direct bearing of the brake pad life. It also created all other new issues of pressure, temperature, and the brake of the locomotive, the coach, and literally anything and everything, and they were able to handle in a real-time situation, saving huge amount of money, which would be otherwise spent on maintenance and on reactive approaches. Reactive approaches, as all of us know, it certainly is much more costlier, and we end up spending money on things where it is not warranted. This Pew Research Center which talks about Internet of Things, gives another definition of Internet of Things, where it calls as a global, immersive, invisible, ambient network computing environment built through the continued proliferation of smart sensors, cameras, softwares, databases, and massive data centers in a world spanning information fabric. This term was coined in 1999 by the MIT researcher Kevin Ashton. Now, his great vision was that if we had computers that knew everything, there was to know about things using data they gathered without help of any of us, we would be able to track and count everything and actually reduce waste, loss, and cost. So this is the place from where we start with. So this being a part of emerging technologies, it is well established that this is where this technology will take us in the days to come. So what is in reality Internet of Things? Mostly we talk about Internet of Things in a manner as if it is mainly connected to the physical devices which you wear, wearable devices or home devices. But at the back end, you have the whole of enterprise today running on it, and you have all of other industrial systems running of it. And one of the first few hacks which happened in the Natanz plant in Iran, what is known as the Stuxnet, started with the PLC, the programmable logic controllers. So that is where this whole history goes back to. And literally all these small systems, they work on microcontrollers and they work on sensors, and that is how things move on and on. One another use case is of a repossession company in Austin. So they used to put a black box in the vehicles and they're able to get the location, and the two main jobs which they did was one ignition control and second was honking. And it ran very fine, and the repossession company did a wonderful job and they're very happy with the performance, which they were actually giving it to the company. One fine day, the ignition stopped working and the car started honking endlessly. So that was at a time when they found out that their system has been hacked and has been taken control by the hackers, and even with best of their effort, they are not able to set it right. And this is the damage to the reputation of the company. So this is to say that what is happening today at this exponential level is generally not being understood by most of the people who are a part of this transformation. Internet of Things has turned out to be an interconnection of threads. So that is the challenge on which we actually set. And over the last at least 5, 6, 7 years, there have been lots of attacks, which is basically based on the interconnection or the Internet of Things in an very interconnected manner. At the present stage, we have already moved on from the Internet of Information, and in a parallel technology in the emerging area landscape, which we have the blockchain technology, so that adds to the internet value, and Internet of Things is another area which literally takes over, I think, the whole world. This will have an impact, I think, much more than what the Internet of Information, if we define in manner, will have. The biggest challenge which is poses to the cyber security arena is the DDoS attacks, mainly by malware, started in the year 2016 by a malware called Mirai, which attacked a well-known security expert's website. And they basically felt that they might get caught, and they put the source code in the open domain, and this brought down the domain registration service provider DIN in October 2016. This was created by two youngsters, and finally they were caught in the legal net. Nonetheless, by that time, they had put lots and lots of these viruses in a customized manner, and it's being used, I think, even till today. And quite a few of them even don't get detected. There's another of this virus called Reaper. So that was also out of this customized version. So this is the way things have been happening. And why this? We'll get into the other botnets also as we move by. Basically, botnets are dangerous because they attack the ISPs. Sometimes, or most of the times, resulting in denial of service attack. They send spam mail, they perform click frauds, they steal credit card information and hold companies to ransom by DDoS attack. Suffice to say that DDoS or DOS is something which all companies bother about, and in their standard security operation make themselves immune to small level of DDoS attacks of 1 GB, 5 GB, 10 GB and the like. But huge DDoS attacks of a nature which can be created by a botnet in the Internet of Things environment becomes extremely difficult to handle. There is another DDoS attack which happened. So that was with the companies. It led to an outage of websites and services including Twitter, GitHub, PayPal, Amazon, Reddit, Netflix and Spotify. I think from the year 2016 till now, there have not been very many attacks in 2017, 18 and 19. Nonetheless, this gives us a very clear-cut idea as to where we are moving. And as we move forward, the basic presumption which we had earlier that IOT is a silver bullet, a technology that can solve all sorts of IT and business problems that the organizers faced, I think that is going into the background. Nearly 32% of all CEOs feel that they're not moving on to the IoT because of security-related reasons. And they recognize that without the proper framing of the problems, IoT was essentially a solution looking for a problem. So it has gone the other way around. So that is how it stands today. There have been lots of other attacks. One was the Z-Wave downgrade attack. It left over nearly 100 million IoT devices open to hackers. Z-Wave is a pairing protocol, and they have upgraded it to S2. But still, most of the devices work on S0, and also the devices on S2, which has been downgraded because of functional purposes. So that puts large number of devices. Those devices urgently made insecure. In the very same manner, there have also been attacks to the tune of 1 Tbps, the world's largest 1 Tbps DDoS attack launched from 152,000 hacked smart devices. So this is the range of distributed denial of service attacks we could never fathom earlier. So that is the level where we are reaching to. So DDoS attacks still happens to be the most difficult to date technologically challenging attack in the age of Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a way of saying that more of the world will become part of the network. We are assimilating more and more of the world into the computer, and this computer generally we see that is becoming part of the cloud. Ubiquitous computing is becoming a part of literally anything and everything. And where we started with smart today generally terms to describe your location, proximity, velocity, your flow, acceleration, ambient sound, and lots of other things, which finally adds up into what we call as the customer experience of today. What is actually happening that getting on more and more gadgets to the internet, we are becoming more and more vulnerable. It's very difficult, it has been very difficult even to handle whatever is available on the internet today. To handle another 50 million devices will become extremely difficult. While some of the smartest research and technology companies, they are rushing forward to build the Internet of Things. It's a multi-trillion-dollar economic enterprise. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Nonetheless, there are companies which are running simultaneously, which are finding extremely difficult to even face zero-day attack or any malware injection. So that is the type of a problem in which we live. There are few things which are basically inherent to the Internet of Things environment. And that Internet of Things environment, where most of the things come on the RFID technology, which was patented in 1983. So RFID technology is at the base. The convenience of RFID, considered by many as the gateway to Internet of Things, sounds great. There is only one problem, that it is eminently hackable. So that is the biggest problem with RFID. And there are lots of things happening on improving the RFID. RFID underground continuously, it is working on improving the offensive techniques. But RFID tags have no effective security, encryption, privacy protocols in place. There is a security hacker by name Francis Brown. So he has created RFID reader by which he can do what is called as the brush pass attack. So when you go across any of these credit cards and whatever is available, so it can take the details and then that can be used for the purposes for which all of us know. And that also leads to what we call as the pocket picking 2.0, where these RFID readers, which are available at eBay for just around $50, pick up all these details, and then through a $300 card magnetizing tool, it's able to create new cards and whatever happens henceforth. That is known to us. Okay. And nearly the same manner in this near field communication. So there also, NEC also the same issues happens. We have the blue snuffing. What it does to privacy is known to all of us. Because the quantum of data which is generated about every single piece, every single aspect, every single activity and every single sentiment of ours goes on through some direction. Finally, it reaches the cloud, and if it is hacked, all of us know what can be done out of it. And besides, whatever is being hacked or not hacked, the companies themselves are using this data for unimaginable purposes. So what is expected in the days to come, that nearly 50 billion new objects will be added on a global scale. And these 50 million objects interacting with another 50 million objects, I call it as 2.66 trillion potential networked object to object interaction. What it will generate, how it will be handled. So that is the biggest challenge. The IOT is underlying insecure protocols. We'll open a Pandora's box of security vulnerabilities on an unprecedented scale. Where we stand on the cyber security aspect in a supposedly connected world will immensely magnify in a hyper-connected world where every single activity of every single human being and every single gadget can interact with another gadget, create data, and the only thing which is supposed to miss out of the whole thing is that the human beings, they go out of the middle and decision making is taken, decision making is done by the gadget's capability to push information or push data and other system of processes and softwares and algorithms to decide upon the data as to what should be done. We are in the midst of immense changes. These are going to make transformational changes in our life, from Internet of Information to Internet of Things. I think it is going to make another impact of 10, 20 times. Unless we are secure and the threat area or the surface threat area is decreased, it will become very difficult in the days to come. So as we move forward onto this new economy, new society, and a new way of living, security has to be inbuilt and factored into the whole system. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.